In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
This is the Scarlet Supporters Podcast. You can contact us on all the usual social media platforms, or you can email us on scarletspems@gmail.com. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Scarlets Podcast, including Wester is Bester and Saucepan Central. Joining me, as always, is Big M and Hugh. I have got a nickname for Hugh. So, good evening, gentlemen. How are you both?
Evening, I'm good, mate.
So, Hugh's nickname is now officially Flatcap, because I saw the photo. Flatcap. Because I saw the photo. Go on, Ed.
Wait there. Okay, right. So, for you and Mark, I'm about to disappear, but for listeners at home, I'll still be here because I'm on my headphones, right? So bear with.
So Hugh had a bit of an adventure on the weekend and put a photo on Twitter, and he was, I mean, there was the countryside look to him. Do you know what I mean? It was the big barber jacket and a rather
I did not have a barber
flash.
jacket on. I did not have a barber jacket on.
You did.
No, I didn't.
I'll
tell you what I wasn't wearing.
And a walking stick and a pipe.
He had big wellies on up to his thighs.
I had my Guinness rugby jersey on. I was going to wear my Fiji top, but because I was with some actual Fijians, I thought that might not go down so well. Right. So I've got my my big box of stash. This is my big box of rugby stash, and if I dig in here enough, is that it? Should be one in here somewhere.
How many
I am
flat
looking
caps?
for. I haven't got many flat caps, but the one that I have got, which is relevant, is the Brad Moore one with the Scarlets logo on it. So I'm trying to find it at the moment, but it's here.
I don't know why we stopped selling them. I mean, they're an ample piece of bloody stock to have in the bloody club shop.
Yeah, and they were
sell them all the time.
Yeah,
they're a bit small though. I've got my scarf.
I got that scarf. Well, my boy got that scarf.
Yeah, it's just a bit small compared to my other flat caps. Right, I'll find it. Right, keep talking. Move on.
Okay, and we will repost the photo of Hugh in his country.
We'll make sure he's in the right attire when we post it.
Yeah. So flat cap. So Big M and flat cap. So while Hugh goes digging in his attic to find his flat cap, Mark, how's your week been, mate?
I had a bit of an up and down week. I did. I mentioned last week I was meant to be off to the Aberystwyth on sevens with the boy, but night before, or I should say early hours of, the boy was up not being too well in the bathroom. So unfortunately, it's not the best for a 9-year-old to be playing after something like that. So we thought, you know what, we'll just knock it on the head. But towards the middle of the day, 3-4 o'clock, he started feeling feeling upbeat. So the missus thought, you know what, we're going to Rill. Like, what are you going to Rill for? A show. Like, oh, brilliant. So we ended up in Rill for a couple of nights and watched the A show on a Sunday, and it was a good day. Not as good as the Swansea A show, but a good day on itself.
But don't they just have the same things, that they just like fly around the UK and like 1 week they're in Swansea and the next week they're in Rill, and or do they have like
not
different?
Exactly. There are different ones. There are like staples that stay, like the Battle of Britain ones. You always get the red arrows. But a lot of them, there are quite a few differences. Like the Typhoon hasn't been in Swansea for a couple of years, but it was in Rill on Saturday, and I'm gutted I missed it. God, the sound that thing makes is unreal.
So you sound excited by that, and I'm just like, it's just plane's a plane. As long as it flies, it's fine. It'll do.
There's a guy at my work who's dead into planes, and every time a plane flies over, he says, "Oh, it looks like a so and so. It looks like a one of them." And I'm like, "I'll take your word for it, mate." It looks like a big old white thing with wings, to be honest, to me.
Well, a long time ago, when I used to be running retail stores, and we used to have an auditor that used to come in, and he was absolutely obsessed with planes. And it was when Radar 24 first launched. So if you were missing a couple of signatures on a piece of paper, he'd come into the office and he'd go, "Lee, can you have a look at these bits here for me?" And you'd go, "Oh, yeah, okay. I tell you what, Steve, let me have a look at those. Show me that radar app thing again now." And then as he showed me his radar app, I'd slip the pieces of paper behind to my deputy, nip out the room, get all the signatures filled in, and then pass them back to me. And I'd have to keep talking to Steve about what planes would go. "Oh, that's going out to Belfast. Oh, and how high is it? And how'd you get that photo?" and all this kind of stuff. So, and about 3 audits he came in, didn't actually. He just thought everywhere he went was really interested in his flight radar app. So, yeah,
it is really interesting. It really is. Just. You go on it. Like, obviously he was dead during COVID, obviously, but you go on it. The amount of planes in the sky is absolutely unreal, and you zoom in further and further, and they're so close to each other. It is really unreal.
But yeah, I had to follow the boy this morning. The boy was on his way to Alicante for a lads' weekend. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one at all. But so yeah, it was. He drove up yesterday, and then it was like, as he was driving up, all the stuff was happening about all the airspace closing down. So yeah, I was up at like 6 o'clock this morning on my phone, tracking his aeroplane to see what time it was leaving. It was meant to leave at 6 and it left at 8, so not too bad. I think we got away with it. So Hugh, tell us about your weekend, mate. Tell us about the adventures of the Flatcap.
Okay, so I put out on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, because I've been doing loads of content over on my Twitter and on a couple of other places about Fiji and how basically I'm admiring all the amazing things that they're doing. And of course, I've been putting out a lot of content about England as well and how badly that they're doing. So I put out just a tweet, like, can anyone sort me out a ticket to see England versus Fiji? And bless him, a guy called Nye, and well, actually 2 guys, Nye and Chris, from Dream Team Rugby on Twitter, messaged me and said, "We'll get you a ticket, mate." So sorted me out, went down there with Nye, who incidentally used to play for, and I think possibly even captain, Wales Deaf, who were the world champions. So shout out to him. Obviously having a conversation in the car on the way down was a bit funny. Basically, I hope he doesn't mind me saying, he lost hearing in his left ear when he was in the army, and basically, obviously he was driving and I was in the passenger seat, but obviously it's his left ear that's deaf. So if I wanted to tell him something, I had to tell him quite loudly. But bless him, he was a lovely guy, and I got to spend all day with him and his Fijian mates from the army as well, which was fantastic. So thank you, Nye. Anyway, went to Twickenham, watched the historic rugby match where Fiji beat England for the first time. Got to see all these players that I've been researching, all these Fijian players that I've been looking up all their stats and things for weeks, and now I'm getting a bit starstruck actually seeing them on the pitch, like, oh my god, it's nice to Levu, it's Ikanavire, oh my god. Watching them running around in Twickenham, not feeling like that for any of the England players, obviously. Anyway, the fun thing about that was so there was a bit of press before the game about how they were struggling to shift tickets for it, and Twickenham, like the whole top section of Twickenham was empty, and the second section was about half full. We were sat down near the front, and obviously it started throwing it down partway through the game. We started getting wet, and we're like, oh, this is a nightmare. This is what we're going to do. And Nigel just goes, oh, it's all right. I got 2 more tickets for up there. And you're like, you what? And it's like, oh, yeah, I gave you a ticket. I can't get rid of these tickets. I've got 4 more tickets beside this. We can go and sit pretty much anywhere you want, mate. So So yeah, we managed to shift, and I sat a bit more up high, and I made lots of friends in Twickenham when Fiji was scoring a try, and I was stood up in the middle of the section on my end going, yeah. And all the people around me looking at me going like, you don't look Fijian, mate. You know.
See, I love that. I did it once. Where did I do it? It was for a World Cup match. It must have been in the way when the World Cup was in Wales in '99. And I watched somebody at Stradey Park. Must have been. I think that was a Fiji game as well. And cheering both sides, and everybody around you kind of going like, well, and I was only small. Well, I wasn't small. I was, what was I, 17, 18, something like that. And you're cheering both sides, and everybody's getting like really confused about, well, who are you actually supporting? Oh, I don't know. they don't know. Good try. Hey, crack on. Yeah, it's good. Well, my week, so obviously I'm still in recovery and all of this kind of stuff and not allowed to do much. So I thought I'd crack the Christmas jigsaws. Yeah. Now, anyone that does jigsaws will know what a was gauge is. Yeah. So a was gauge is kind of like you get the picture, and then, but the actual what's in the box is different to the picture that's on the box. So it might be somebody at the back of that picture is looking forward and there's stuff going on that you can't see, or it might be that picture in 10 years' time, or it might be that picture 5 minutes later and all this kind of stuff. So you get an idea of what it is and all that. So I started getting the jigsaw out, and I've got 4 corners, and then I've got 5 corners, and then I've got 8 corners, and I thought, right, okay, this something weird's going on here. So I thought, I'll just go with it. There might be a picture inside a picture. Ah, right, yeah, okay, right, that makes sense now, right. And then, right, I've got 2 full sides there, and a full side there, and then 2 full sides, and I'm like, this is 2 days I was at this, just trying to get the outsides, and I'm going, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand. This is ridiculous. And then my 14-year-old daughter, I said, come and give me a hand with this. Look, Dad can't work out what's going on. And on the front of the box, because I wasn't looking at the front of the box, because I was just trying to work it out from the pieces. On the front of the box, it says, bonus jigsaw included. 1 jigsaw is the front of the box, and the other jigsaw is what the front of the box is looking at. And she's going like, this doesn't make any sense. There's 2 jigsaws in there. And I went, all right, that's probably why there were 2 bags separated inside. And I'd opened both bags and tipped them in together. So over a week I've been cracking on at this jigsaw, and I still haven't got either one of them sorted. So yeah, that was my week. Right, let's talk some rugby then, gents. Before we go off on some very wild tangents. So let's have a quick chat about tonight's pod is all about the community game and all of our teams in the community section. But obviously we're just going to have a quick chat through Group C, Rugby World Cup. We're going to do a load more on this next week. We'll go into a deep dive on this next week. But what do we make of Group C? How do we see it going? And are we looking forward to it? So, Hugh, you can kick off with your strange fetish of Fijian heritage. What do you make of Group C, mate?
So, yeah, I think it's got 4 teams in it that I think will all be backing themselves to do a job and get out of the pool. I think based on what Fiji have been able to do and the progress they've shown over the last 12 months, and they've had a really, really good summer, they won't be afraid of anybody, and we've got them up first, unfortunately. Australia, on the other hand, can't buy a win. Magic number for you. Australia have conceded 30 or more points in 5 of their last 6 games. One of those games was when they conceded 30 points to Wales in Cardiff and still won. Anyway, that's about that. And then there's obviously Wales. Now, Wales, I can tell you from the summer, of all the Six Nation teams, have the most efficient attack, right? So per 22 visits,
What?
yeah, Wales have got the most efficient attack of all the Six Nation teams. So per visit for 22, Wales come away with the most points. Unfortunately, the thing that makes that stat really work is that we visited the opposition 22 16 times in 3 games, and the next lowest was England with 36 visits in 4 games. So we are like 20 visits to the 22 behind the next worst attack. So yeah, so we don't venture into opposition territory very often, but when we do, we score points, which is nice. So yeah, I don't know. I still think that Wales will get out of the group. I'm not one of the naysayers, but I think it will be Fiji that gets out with us, because I think Australia is all at sea.
Mm. Mark, what do you make of Georgia and Portugal, Mark? As well as, you know, all the obvious stuff? What do you make of Georgia and Portugal?
Well, I think they're lovely places to visit. I'll start with that. No, Georgia are what we all know. They're big, burly forwards. Even their backs are big men. But their game plan, it has been evolving over the last couple of years, and you can see them transitioning better from defense into attack. And obviously, it's a lot more difficult for these tier 2 teams to really push themselves, because they don't get the opportunity regular enough against the tier 1 nations, just to see, okay, where are we? Okay, we've had a good win against one this weekend. We finally cracked it. Let's back up next week. Oh wait, we're actually playing someone a tier below us. So it makes it really difficult to assess where they actually are. I fully agree with Huw. I think there are 4 sides who can really progress from this group. I think Fiji are probably going in as favourites based on these last big results. Looking at the South Africa-New Zealand result on the weekend, I think we're actually in a better position than most people think. Go from getting a thumping from South Africa, and then they go and do something like that to New Zealand. So we're not as bad as they say. Australia, yeah, they're struggling. I think I can see between Fiji, Wales, Australia, all of us will lose 1 game each, and it's going to be a tough one to really come out. It's going to come down to that points difference, those the bonus points, the try scored. But Portugal, I like the kit. I can say that. I do like the kit. I don't know how I feel about Portugal being there, just because of how they have got into this World Cup, with all the drama with Spain fielding an ineligible player for something like 20 minutes or whatever it was. So I'm a little bit disappointed with it. I mean, obviously, great to see, lesser nations in the World Cup. It's brilliant. But at the same time, I'm kind of disappointed that Spain didn't get their chance. And it must rub some salt in the wound for Portugal to go over them. Oh boy, that must have really been a double kick in the teeth. But I'm excited to see what comes from Portugal. That is the one game I'm really looking forward to in this World Cup. And it's the one game I know I won't be watching live, because the Scarlet Barbarians are on the same day.
Right.
See, I think it's just teeing itself up nicely that Fiji are having a bit of a resurgence, but traditionally when the pressure comes on, Fiji collapse. But they didn't really show that when France put pressure on them, and England didn't put that much pressure on them really. I mean, they were in control, and every time England came back, they just went, oh, let's just go score another try, So they didn't really feel the pressure. So I think Wales will play a very different game against Fiji. I think there'll be a lot of ball in the air. I think there'll be a lot of kicking. There'll be a lot of, if you want to beat us, you're gonna have to run it from your own 22. And as much as Fiji's fitness has improved, I think Wales has improved much more. I think in that Wales-Fiji game, Wales are going in with, we have to win this, and we will kick the arse off Fiji, and we will put it left and right and bring them on sort of a thing. We'll just keep putting them down, and then we'll hoof it into the corners and we'll make them play from their own 22. And everyone's going to love Fiji after that game, because Fiji are going to come out and really, they're going to try and run everything, because that's the way. And they showed against England that, when they run it, they're just beautiful people to watch running the ball.
The thing I love about Fiji, and it's something that I wish Wales did more, is they take one-on-ones. If you put a defender in front of a Fijian player, they go, I'm going to either run over you or run round you. And they showed that they're capable of doing both. I think Semi Radradra was on a mission to flatten every English player he could at the weekend, whereas Welsh players frustratingly just don't take one-on-ones, whether they're told not to or they just don't have the confidence. They shy away from that. So, I think we could learn anything from Fiji.
Yeah, but I just think it's going to be a fantastic group. I think Portugal are going to come, and if you've seen the Portugal stuff on social media, they're really up for it. They're almost in party mood already. I think Georgia are coming at it from some kind of 1930s detective series. Have you seen the moustaches on Georgia? Hercule Poirot would be proud of some of those, I'm telling you now. But Georgia will come in to do a number. They're not there to make up the numbers. They're really coming to turn people over. So I think Group C is just going to be fantastic. Little bit nervous. I'm not as confident as everyone else about Wales getting out of that group, because I said about 2-3 weeks ago that Fiji game was going to be really, really important. That was the key game. That was a vital game. And now I think probably the Australia game is more important. And we just have a habit of cocking things up against Australia. No matter how poor Australia are, we make them look good and we always give them opportunity. So, that's why I just think we've got a bit of a challenge on our hands in the Australia game. As poor as Australia are, I think that's where our challenge is now, is that game. So, but we shall go into more detail on that next week, gentlemen, because next week will be a couple of days before the Fiji game and everything's starting to kick off and all of that kind of stuff. So next week is looking like a tasty one. We'll do a lot more stuff on Group C next week. So before we do a load of stuff on the community game. Well, this is a community game, but there's a fixture this Sunday that I just wanted to give a quick plug to. Really important fixture, because we've been debating all week what is East and what is West. And I'm going to be honest with the listeners. We finally got to a resolution with that about 10 minutes before we came on air, where we went, okay, this is East and this is West, and we'll share the map with you of where East and West is. And it's
just a draft map. It's a draft map. Let's get that out there. It's a draft map.
It's not
done quickly on my phone just to put the team where I wanted them.
Yeah, it's not exactly an exact science, but the first big East v West rivalry kicks off this Sunday. So Sunday the 3rd, Milford Haven. I'm assuming it's on the 4G pitch in Milford. 2 p.m. kickoff, and it is the Vikings against the Warriors in the mixed ability category. And I've got to say, I've seen some of the stuff that the boys are doing on social media, and when you talk about people really loving the game and enjoying the game, these are the boys to go and watch. Just there's always a smile on the face. Do you know what I mean? And every single person there they're not going soft. These boys are going flat out. They're going hard. The tackles are hard. The running is hard. But then they're helping each other up off the ground at the same time and giving each other a pat on the back and all that kind of stuff. And it's just such a pleasure to see so many people playing with a smile on their face, and regardless of what the ability is, because that's the whole point of the mixed ability team. It is for players who have, a variety of, I don't want to call it disabilities because it's just a
additional abilities.
Yeah, it's just a lower level of ability in certain areas. But everybody's got their own different thing, and everybody else on the pitch kind of gets that, and everybody there watching it gets it. And it's if you've got a chance, go and watch it on Sunday. Now, the Milford Haven pitch, absolute nightmare to get to if you don't know where you're going. If anybody needs any directions, give us a shout because there's 2 different ways of getting there. Well, actually, there's about 4 different ways of getting there, but there's 2 entrances to the pitch. There's a main one where the club is, and then there's the sneaky one round the side that only the locals really know about. But if you want to go and watch, give us a shout. If you can't find where you're going, because the more people that go and watch that, the better. It's going to be a cracking game. So that's Sunday the 3rd, Milford Haven Rugby Club, 2 p.m. kickoff, and that is Vikings against the Warriors, Pembrokeshire Vikings against Llanelli Warriors. And I can quite comfortably say, straight off the top now, boys, that's 1 win in the bag for the West. Straight away, Vikings going to put your boys. Yeah, I'm telling you now. This is the, Westera is Vestra. Vikings going to do a job. I can tell you that.
Mate. Honestly, they train in People's Park, Llanelli Warriors, not too far from where I live, and you're ever walking past on a training night, and it's intense. They do go at it, and one of the things I love about the mixed ability is the shorts and the fact that they have different color shorts to how you want to play the game, how you get tackled. So I think it's, if you have white shorts and you go you're early, you go softer, you play, you be a bit more gentle, and then you upgrade yourself to the black shorts, you go a bit harder. I just think that idea is absolutely massive. I mean, it makes everyone on the pitch think as well. Yeah. So it doesn't make an easier game by any means. It actually makes it more difficult, if anything. And the fact is, if you've got whether you've got a physical disability from an accident, from birth, from the army, whatever, this is a place where you can come and you go at your own pace. It doesn't matter about the boys around you. It matters about how you were doing, and they tailor everything to the individual, as it should be in all rugby, but it's even more prevalent here.
And what we'll do next week is we'll try and get a bit more information out of both teams, maybe a bit of a rundown of the game, and we'll share training times and locations and all of that kind of stuff. I could probably find it now, but we haven't got time. So next week we'll definitely do a little bit of a debrief on how the mighty Vikings slain the Warriors.
By the Warriors.
Right.
So my timing right on that.
Right. So while we're talking east and west, let's just talk about the first fixture for this season, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the elite league stuff. First fixture for this season, Premiership, is Carmarthen Quins against Llandovery. So it's not really east versus west, it's east versus east, but it's as close as we're going to come to an east versus west in the Premiership. Mart, what are you making of the opening Premiership fixture of this year?
It's always tasty to see, a local derby, especially to open the season, and it was exactly the same last year. Carmarthen Quins at home to Llandovery, and last year Llandovery weren't coming in as Welsh champions, and they walked away with a 19-3 victory over the Quins last season. And if anything, with some of the recruitment over the summer, I think Llandovery are stepping it up a little bit. I think they're going to be another title-winning season, if I'm totally honest. I don't think anyone has really done the sort of business that they have. And it's going to solidify themselves. I know, obviously, the final with Cardiff, everyone was back in Cardiff. But, with the way the URC has gone this year, I think a lot of the boys that they had were academy players. I think they're going to miss quite a few of them now. So I think Llandovery are really going to be just out on their own a little bit. Things happen. I can be wrong. I put all my hands up if I am, but I can't see anything other than a Llandovery win and them being at the top of the table and in that final come May next year.
Hugh, what do you make of it? Have the Quins got any hope at all of coming back at Llandovery?
Well, obviously there was a big gap between them last year. I don't know if we've got any kind of insider knowledge, guys. Like, how many Llandovery players are being called into Scarlets training at the moment? Because obviously the Scarlets have got, well, maybe not as of the last couple of weeks, but the Scarlets have had reduced numbers due to people being away with Wales and Tonga as well with Lousi and Fafita. So maybe Llandovery have been missing a couple of players to go and support the Scarlets, or maybe their training's been a bit more disjointed. I think that's probably Carmarthen's best chance. I don't know. I kind of have to agree with Matt. I think Llandovery are going to be the clear favourites here, but that just makes it even the more exciting if Carmarthen manage to sneak a victory.
I know there's quite a few other players that got released by Scarlets last year. I think 4 of them ended up in Llandovery, and I know quite a lot of the academy boys have gone to Llandovery and Carmarthen. So it is very much a this. If you want to be in the Scarlets kind of setup, this is the game to show yourself. This is where Scarlet's going to be looking. I can guarantee that the scouts will be at this game, watching it closely, taking the notes. They'll have the video, and they will be going through this over and over and over. For all of Llandovery's recruitment, for all of their stuff, I'm hoping the Quins can bring something just to shake it up from the start of the season, just to go, do you know what? This is going to be a different season right from the start. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But I'd love to see Carmarthen Quins come on that first game and really shake up Llandovery. Not that I don't like Llandovery, or anything like that, but just to really shake up the start of the season and go, from week 1, this is going to be a division worth watching. So, I mean, there's other games going on that week as well in that division, but there are only 2 teams. so that's where we're going to focus our effort. So, yeah, I'm going to predict you two can predict a Llandovery win. I'm going to predict a Carmarthen win. Well, that's I'm going to stick there.
It's not. I'm looking at the fixtures now, so it's on the Saturday. So, are BBC Wales televising any of the games this year?
I think S4C have got some rights, but I haven't seen anything announced. I mean, they did the Thursday night games last season, which were good, and I'm hoping not for something similar, because I'm not a big fan of the Thursday night game, but I would like to see more of these games televised. Just because this is the elite level. I say that word now. I don't like that word anymore. This is the top level of Welsh rugby, below professionalism, and it is your village, it is your local. So this is the stuff we should be showing. And S4C, they've got the money. A lot of these clubs have already got the facilities to have these cameras in the ground. So there's no reason why they can't be doing it. And I mean, if they want something on the TV, 3 o'clock, 2:30 on a Saturday afternoon when all of the sport is bloody, blackwashed or whatever, then it's a perfect opportunity.
I quite liked the Thursday night games last year, just because there was nothing else on. So, do you know what I mean? It's like on a Friday night, there was always a URC game. Saturday, it was URCs, and then if you play a Sunday game, there was usually a URC game on, and then there was a highlights package to watch. We haven't really embraced Monday night rugby as a concept, so for me, a Thursday night
That's
game.
not either.
Well, I for me, if we're going to do it, I would absolutely back that change but it takes a change in the thought process of people to do it. So I don't think we're quite there yet, but a Thursday night game or a Monday night game, if it was every week, yeah, I'd absolutely be in with that. And like you say, S4C are there. I haven't seen anything being advertised, so it's a shame.
I'm asking my TV person if if he knows anything. So bear with. Everyone tune into our socials in the coming days to see if we manage to get an answer on this.
Yeah.
And if you see nothing, we haven't.
Yeah, just assume that we haven't unless we do. So Martyn mentioned there the word elite. And there's a reason why he doesn't like the word elite, because from next year it's going to be really important. So Mark, talk us through the elite league changes for next year and what that means for everyone.
Well, I can't exactly talk you through specifics because nobody knows the specifics. I don't even think the WRU knows the specifics, other than they're calling it an elite league with 10 teams, ring fencing it for 3 years. Now, the main thing for me is, they want this 10-team league. Fine, have what you want, but is it going to be above the Premiership? Is it replacing the Premiership? And then you've got the knock-on effect further down, because they've also announced that every team below the Championship, which, your Division 1, 2, 3 for us, and then you've got 4, 5, and 6, further east along the road. That's a lot of shake-up for a lot of teams, so, talk about, your goal being promotion, for these clubs, that might not even be a possibility just because, with, 12 and 11 team leagues going down to 10, you're all dropping numbers. So you're not going to accommodate a team from below you when you're already dropping teams that are already there. So I think we're waiting. We've got to wait just to get some final details. I've put out some feelers to hopefully the right people who might be in the know, and hopefully we can get back on that. But as it stands, it's the idea of an elite league. Yeah, I get it, but in practice right now, I'm not liking it. And until I get further details to really solidify what they actually want and what they're doing, I can't get behind it.
So I've got the WRU press release here if you want, so I can just fill in what they've said. So from what I've read, it looks like it's going to sit between the Premiership and the URC teams. So the point of it is to develop players for the URC teams, for the regions. So it says that it's going to be based on a license process. So teams will apply to be in it, and then they will be granted a license based on meeting the criteria. What the criteria isn't explicitly stated. They do say that there is a geographical side to it, i.e. that there will be, I guess they won't want two clubs that are too close together. They also have said that it will be the two highest scoring clubs in each region. So there'll be 2 clubs from Scarlets, 2 clubs from Cardiff, 2 clubs from Ospreys, 2 clubs from Newport, or can't call them Newport, Dragons. So that will be 8. And then they've already said that RGC will be in it, because they say that North Wales is strategically important to the WRU as a pathway. So RGC are already confirmed that they will be in it. So that leaves a space for 1 more to apply. Potentially, they said they will not go over 10, or they don't want to go over 10. And I guess it's kind of mirroring what the Super 6, or now it's not 6 anymore, there's 7 of them up in Scotland, what they are doing to create a better pathway for feeding Edinburgh and Glasgow. So I guess that's the intent behind it. Obviously, this has been rumoured for what feels like about a year now at this point.
20.
So yeah, so it feels to me like, reading this press statement, that the WRU ideally would like 8 or 9, and it feels like they've been pushed up to 10 by the clubs. I guess from a Scarlet's point of view, the interesting thing will be, obviously with Nethley RFC withdrawing from normal competition to be a development side, will they apply to be in it? Based on that, and maybe that would take a place off either Llandovery or Carmarthen. You would assume, I don't know, other people would probably apply to be in it. I guess there would be other teams, around Wales that wouldn't apply to be in it. So I think a club like Merthyr potentially might not apply to be in this, because they have had a bit more of a model of signing older, more experienced players to try and challenge to win stuff, compared to some other clubs that like Cardiff RFC, for example, are much more of a development team. So, yeah, it's going to be, apparently there's going to be decided by an independent panel comprising 1 WRU representative and 2 independent panel members who are yet to be appointed. So you're right, Mart, we don't know tons about this. So we can make a lot of assumptions, a lot of guesses. I guess the only thing that we do know is that RGC are going to be in it.
Yeah, I need to add to that Llanelli are definitely applying to be in this league. I don't know if it was in a statement or anything public, but John Daniels, the Scarlets head of rugby, he has stated, I don't know if it's public, but I've definitely heard him say it privately, that Llanelli are going to be applying to be in this league. So we've got that one thing, but as you said, we don't know what the criteria is. We don't even know if they're going to be able to hit any criteria because they're not in the league. And that's, that goes back to something me and Lee done, back last season, talking about Llanelli's demise, essentially.
I think the thing for me with this is if RGC are going to be ring fenced, and I got no problem at all with RGC being ring fenced, and there's going to be a requirement then for so the rumor is that there will be a requirement for the stadium or the ground to be at a certain level. Then RGC need to improve their stadium, because the walk from the changing rooms to the ground, and there's only one side of the ground has got the stand on, and the stand is about 30 meters away from the pitch and all this kind of stuff. I would love to see RGC be in a position where they can actually maybe develop the other side of the ground and then redevelop that first side. So yeah, I'm all in favour of RGC being in there, but if we're going to commit to it, let's commit to it. Let's properly go and do something like that. And the other bit that I would make on that, so if we've got 9, so let's say we've got 8 South Wales, then you've got RGC as 9. Let's have a look at Mid Wales. Let's, in the same way that there was nothing in North Wales, and then we started to develop RGC, and a lot of that was down to Rupert Moon and the work he did there. Then let's develop something in Mid Wales as well. Let's commit to developing something there and give it that back in of 3 years and say, right, okay, let's put some players there that are going to do a job for 3 years. So we have got more of a geographical spread across the country. I know it's not going to happen, but in my head, this would be a nice thing to happen.
Yeah. This is a conversation for another day, but I think the main thing with the North Wales and RGC coming in was due to the population up north. I don't think we have the same in Mid Wales, especially when it's covered by the beacons.
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised. Mid Wales, there are some places in Mid Wales that would absolutely go nuts for something like that. But that's, like you say, discussion for another time. So let's get busy with. So before we start looking at championships, are we definitely 100% agreed on the East-West split? Right. Any last chances to amend the East-West split? Go in, gone. Right, okay. No more changes.
Okay, I want to change something now.
The amount of arguments that we've had over the last week.
Friendly discussions.
Yeah. There was a guy on Twitter who came back to Lee and said, surely it's just if you're in Carmarthenshire, you're in East, and if you're in Pembrokeshire, you're West. And Lee was like, no,
that's not how it works.
That's a stupid suggestion, is what he said.
and first of all, we had to get Hugh to understand that we were talking about East and West of the West. So there's West and East-West. And then we've got to throw in the northwest of the east and west, and you can see why this has taken so long to get to where we are. However, let's have a look at Championship West. So the Championship has now been split into East and West, and various teams up, various teams down.
I will just tell the listeners that when I was doing the research for this, when I saw that the Championship was split into East and West, because I thought, oh, well, I'm East. So I started looking in Championship East. And I'm looking at all these teams there in Newport, and I'm like, God, none of these are in our region. What is going on? And then I realised that even though I was East, I'm still West.
Explaining
Flatcap, what do you like?
Yeah, it's explaining the concept of being the east of the West and the west of the West. So let's have a look at the east of the Championship West. So we've got two sides in there. We've got Ammanford and Llangennech. Now, we talked a lot last year about Llangennech, Matt. We didn't really talk much about Ammanford, but that's because we were doing just west of the West. So tell us a bit about Ammanford and a bit of an update on Llangennech.
Yeah, well, Ammanford are a very, very easterly team if when we're talking about, Dyfed, Carmarthenshire, etc. But no, they had a really, really good season last year. They I just had it on my screen now. Obviously they've been promoted from 1 West Central, and let me just find exactly where they finished, because I guess you moved my little tab on my thing, so I've lost it. Yeah, they finished third in 1 West Central, so a very, very good season. And being where they are, it's quite a tricky one, just because you look at Ammanford, you look at it on the map, and you're thinking, is it not really the Swansea area, or Neath or whatever they talk about. But no, they're a very strong side. They are very undervalued. I mean, that whole entire area. And we will come on to a few more teams around there in a little bit. But I'm expecting a very strong season from them. I probably not, top half contention, but definitely mid-table. I'm not expecting them to be propping up the bottom. On Llangennech, and we spoke at length, where they were in Division 1 West last year with Crymych, with Newcastle Emlyn. And there's not much more we can really say that haven't already been said. They came out from nowhere. They had about 30 games in hand, and they just won every single one of them, which was unbelievable, picking up bonus points for fun. And where they're located, the grounds that they have got, the facilities that are available there, I'm expecting a really good season from them as well, coming up first in Division 1 West. I'm not going to back them to be in the title run, but I'm going to say they're going to be close to it. I think they are that mindset. They are the number one team in the Llanelli area now, with obviously the demise of the RFC. So, I think a lot of people are backing them, and, they're going to show their worth.
So, Hugh, have you managed to work out where Ammanford and Llangennech are yet?
Not really.
So it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for all of us, to be honest. But from, like Martin was saying, at the end of last season, Crymych and Newcastle Emlyn were top of Division 1 and quite comfortable. And then Llangennech were, I think they had like about 8 games in hand at one point, didn't they? And Martin was going, like, these are the boys to win. Nah, they're not going to cut. And it literally came to the last couple of games. So yeah, fair play to them. It was a good end to the season last year.
It is right on the border, isn't it? There might be some listeners who find this a bit controversial, but it is in Carmarthenshire, according to Google Maps. So yeah, it is ours, but it is. If you go straight up from the Locher, it is straying. It's straying. But anyway, move on.
Yeah, let's not start that one again. So, the West teams then in Championship West. Obviously, the main team for us is Narberth. Everybody above Narberth. I think Narberth finished 5th last year. They were unlucky not to finish 4th, possibly 3rd. They had Neath and Pontypool above them. So, and they gave both those sides a good run for their money. So, Narberth on paper are, the team to beat in this league. But then you've got Crymych and Newcastle Emlyn. And both of those sides will definitely be looking at Narberth as an opportunity to have a crack at someone. Particularly that I think first game of the season. Oh no, it's quite close to the start of the season. Crummoch and Narberth. It's just going to be an almighty bloodbath. But yeah, I think that I can't see past Narberth in all honesty. I think Newcastle Emlyn are going to give it a good go. I think they've got a lot of young players coming through there. They've got an excellent youth development system in Newcastle Emlyn. Crummoch, again, they just seem to have that mentality of, when I was playing, Crummoch was only just coming out of junior club status. Yeah, so
they're still in nappies, aren't they?
Well, yeah, basically, they had one pitch, they had, a tin shack for a changing room, and there was a pub that they'd kind of bought as the rugby club sort of a thing. And now I think 1, 2, 3, there are 4 pitches there, all with new drainage, the floodlights, the training pitch. Everything is just being developed. The only thing they haven't got is a sodding car park, which drives me nuts every time I go there. But they've also got their own environment. They've got their own weather system, and it don't matter when you go to Crummoch, you need to bring your sunglasses and your welly boots, because nobody's got an idea what the weather's going to be like up there. But between those three, I'm definitely putting Narberth as favourites for me. And yeah, looking at the rest of the teams in there, I think it's going to be a competitive league. It's going to be a really competitive league next year.
There's one team I want to point out. They're not under our remit, but simply just because of anyone who's been on Twitter will see the sheer numbers of signings that this team have made. I can see Brecon doing pretty well, to be honest. If they're up there, I think Narberth are clear runaways, like you said, but I could see Brecon being second. Just based on how many boys they're pulling in from, each and everywhere.
So they'd be classed as mid-Wales then, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
And they've had to pull in loads of boys from, down south, down southwest, down southeast, just to get enough boys to play, really, innit? I'm only joking.
This is, Crummoch and Newcastle Emlyn have been quite solid, but Narberth have lost coach, a couple of players, lots of young players coming through in Narberth now. A couple of players that were on licence from Carmarthen Quins have gone back. So, Narberth, they will be strong, but you never really know what that's going to be like. And just on a side note, my boy's hoping to turn out for one game before he goes back to uni for Narberth, which would be quite nice. I'd quite like to see him in blue and black again. It'd be quite nice. So anyway, Division 1 West. So this is where you boys kind of dominate, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 5-2 split. So let's have a look at Division 1 West. Martyn, go on. You take us through Division 1 West East.
In Division 1 West East, probably, let's think how far, it's going to be Kidwelly to head. Probably an 8-mile stretch. We've got 5 teams. So, I'll go from left to right if I'm doing it correctly. We've got Kidwelly, Buryport, Llanelli Wanderers, Ballinvol and Hendy. And, all of them are, good teams in their own right. Buryport and Kidwelly have both come up from Division 2 last season. Let me get this right. Kidwelly finished second. Was it second? Yeah, it was second, and Buryport finished third. I'm sorry for droning on a bit there. But no, it was such a strong league. Division 2 West was last year, and Tenby, Nancaredig, it was such a hard division, and just the fact that they got out of it is a credit to them. And I wouldn't be just surprised to see both of them, leapfrog the 3 teams that are already there. If I'm going to back anybody in this league, I'm going to back Kidwelly. Just knowing, the coaches that they've got, and they've pulled in another one this season from a local rival, and I know his quality. So they are going to be a big, massive outfit. Buryport is where my boy plays. it's brilliant facilities. I think they've got 3 pitches. They've actually ring fenced them now, so that's pretty fun. No more dirt bikes on the pitch, no more dog owners traipsing the party reckoning on a wee Saturday morning, which has been a problem in the past. But Barryport are a good solid team. They've been in and around top of Division 2 West for a good couple of years now. So for them to finally get up, it's really good, and credit to them. The 3 that are already there, we'll start with Wellinville. I think they do a good season, and with everything over the past year with Benny, I think there could be something to come from them. A bit of his spirit coming into the game. Llanelli Wanderers, they are the closest team to me. I've coached with their minis previously, and they set up in the minis and the juniors is brilliant. It doesn't quite transcend into the senior team, which is quite disappointing. But they're a solid Division 1 team. Let's hope they can just fulfil their fixtures this year. And then we go with Hendy. They are a little bit further in the west, not the west, the east. Sorry, that's my bad. But again, mid-table last year. I think they've got. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they've got a professional or 2 coaching down there. I'm not too sure if Josh Turnbull was there. I'll have to double check that, but I can remember it's either he's coaching there or I know he's from there. So he might be in there. So that'd be another top level coach coming in. So we could see good things from them. But all in all, from our selection on the East, it's going to be Kidwelly and my ones.
Josh Turnbull came through Newcastle Imminent.
Nobody's living now.
I know, but he came through Newcastle Imminent, as did Gareth Davis. No,
Scott Williams.
Yeah. And there was somebody else. There's about 4.
Gareth Thomas, who's with the Ospreys. There is quite a few Newcastle Imminent boys.
Yeah. I mean, it's not surprising.
Isn't Josh Adams from Hendy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, there's a lot of decent players there. So, Hugh, now, have you been able to do any do any of those sides appear on any of your spreadsheets at all, Hugh, yet?
No,
not including the copy and paste you've done today.
Apart from all the copy and pasting I've done from Martin's spreadsheet, no. Obviously I'm on my learning journey, learning all of it from Martin. I think I'm going to have to defer to him mostly, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going to go. I can't disagree with what Martin said.
Yes, you can. Make it up. Make it up just to wind you up.
What I will say is obviously Gorsainen are in this league, which isn't technically in our region, but Lee Harpen is from Gorsainen.
Oh, come on, mate. Did he still look You don't want to talk about that.
Oh, God. You've set him off.
Lee Halfpenny is from there, and we can all agree. I think everyone in Wales agrees Lee Halfpenny is more Scarlet than he is Cardiff these days. Therefore, if Gorsainen win, we will claim it as a Scarlet's victory.
Yeah, but you got when they done the Wales team announcement, you had Dan Bigger as a Gorsainen boy. Well, I thought he was Pencloud, in all honesty, because I've seen a few Wales flags with Bigger and Pencloud on it. But no,
well, apparently him and Lee used to share lifts to and from training. So
I've got a question.
I stand by what I said.
I've got a question on your spreadsheet, man. How come Pontedilais isn't east? Because
they're not in Carmarthenshire.
Yes, they are. Because they're on the roundabout. Yeah, so they're just off the roundabout where with the
they're a border, but they're not in our county.
But I drive past Pontedilais to get to Scarlets.
Then I don't know what way you were going.
On the M4, because it's the quickest way. So I drive.
So where are you getting off to? Because if you're getting off at the 47, you're not going as far as Pontedilais. You'll see the signs, but you're not quite as far as there.
Yeah, Pontedilais.
Where do you go from?
They're just a few
where
more.
do you go from?
So Pembrokeshire.
Yeah, if you're going from Pembrokeshire, you've gone too far. You need to back up, according to this. I mean, if you're on the A48, okay, maybe, but
as well.
Pontarddulais
Yeah,
is
I'd be getting off in
it
cross
says
hands if I
Google
was
Maps.
in it. I wouldn't get onto the M4.
No, because on a match day, that back road is a pain in the backside. You go M4, take the 30 turn off, and it's all straight in, and you only get caught up like 2 roundabouts out. It's not.
I got one you can try. Don't go onto the A48 on that roundabout. You know where Morrison's is. Take the 484, go all the way around, go past Kidwelly and Buryport, and come around that way. It's easier. That might be a good one for you.
But Pontarddulais, you come off at the end of the M4. What's the crappy
Pont
Abram, yeah. So you come off there and it's just up the side there.
No.
That's when I played rugby against Pontarddulais. I'm bloody sure that's where I went.
I don't think the M4 was being built back then, mate.
Oh, no, lick off.
No,
anyway,
it says here on Google Maps, Pontarddulais is a town in Swansea.
Where the hell was I playing? Oh, it was a long time ago, boys. Anyway, so in the west, west of Division 1,
what a turning point that was.
We beat them. We absolutely tonked Pontarddulais, and I remember
it's got a Swansea postcode.
Well, I remember playing.
SA is all of us.
But we played against Pontarddulais, so we played against them home, and we absolutely destroyed them at home. We played against them away, and the first 10 minutes we were all over them again. I thought, all right, this is great. And we had a lovely move, and we absolutely took it from our 22, and I had a run in from about the 10-yard line, and it was just me against the fullback, yeah. And I had I was playing blindside, and I had the number 8, who was our captain, just outside me, and he was with me all the way. No, you'll love this, all the way along. So I'm legging it from the 10-yard line. I get, yes, I'm in. Dived for the line, but the fullback caught me, wrapped me, and pulled me over. Yeah. And the ref went, excellent try, cracking try that was, boys. And as I got up, my captain pulled me to one side. He went, you greedy little shit. You didn't get that down, did you? I went, no. And I walked back literally the length of the pitch with my head down like that, with my captain in my ear going, you greedy little bastard, you should have given up all. And the whole length of the pitch with him like this in my ear like that. It was yeah.
I'm really sorry, Hugh, but you know this is a regular staple on this show.
Can I throw a cat amongst the pigeons?
Go on.
Although Pontarddulais is in Swansea, it is technically, as per a compass, west of Manford.
See, I told you.
But you got to look at the county boundaries. That's what we are. We look at the.
I agree.
We live in
anything.
Anyway,
if you've got to go by anything, you've got to go by the counties.
Well, let's go controversial again then, and let's go Whitland. Because Whitland is technically Carmarthenshire, but has always been District G or District H, whichever one we are. So anyway, Whitland we spoke about a lot last year. So we if you think last year Whitland and Pembroke were battling it out to be not the worst in this division, and Pembroke now pop up in Division 3 after their issues. So yeah, I mean Whitland had a nightmare of a season last year. Absolute nightmare, and I haven't seen much to tell me that that's any different. I haven't seen any big name signings. I haven't seen any chat or anything. Whereas Aberystwyth, are talking themselves up. They've had a good pre-season. They've had good numbers. They've had, a healthy start to this season. And out of those two, I'd be quite confident in putting Aberystwyth above Whitland wherever they finish in that table. I think Aberystwyth are going to finish above Whitland, and I think Aberystwyth are probably going to be top half of the table as well. And I would not be surprised to see Whitland propping up the bottom again this year. So
yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think Aberystwyth, they had a strong season last year, and they were quite unlucky. They sort of tailed off towards the end. But we asked, I think, every single week last year, where's Whitland? Where's Whitland gone? I don't think they're going to be quite at the bottom. I think there's, a couple of teams, over the Lacha that are going to be doing that for us. There's a place that I don't like trying to pronounce because I don't even know if I can pronounce it right. When I led, I think that's totally wrong, but it's how I'm going to say it. And, I think, Pencloud are another one who I think, that's the battle where Whitland are. They're in, I think, the bottom three. I think that's where they're going to be fighting. And I'm hoping that, they show who they really are. They show the Whitland of old. The Whitland that should really be up in Championship West in the, the top echelon of it all.
Okay, so let's have so there is a weird anomaly in Division 1 West Central, which is Bryn Aman. Now, this is another one. I'm not sure that that's in our region, but I'm going to go with Martyns' knowledge on this. And Martyn says Bryn Aman are in our region. So Bryn Aman are very much east. I'm not even going to debate whether they're west on there. But tell us about Bryn Aman, Matt.
Yeah, it's well, like you all said with Ammanford earlier, it's that whole area that not many people really associate with rugby, I don't think. And I mean, other than Shane Williams, people say Ammanford, they go, where's that? They haven't got a clue. But there is a deceptive amount of rugby players and clubs in that area, and they are all pretty strong stuff. I mean, Bryn Aman last year, they didn't exactly cover themselves in glory. Just the fact of there being no relegation is the only reason why they didn't go down. I mean, it would have been nice if they could have chucked them over into just one West and maybe, taken one of the 5 really Eastern teams out of one West for them. That would have been easier for us. But, it is what it is. We've got to deal with it. I'm just hoping for something better than last year for them. Anything other than 12th would be an improvement. Well, actually, it will be an improvement because there's only 11 teams in the league. That's
guaranteed. So I have no idea at all about Bryn Aman. I genuinely no idea where they are or what they do. So it's going to be interesting. I'm with Hugh on this one. We're all on a learning curve for Bryn Aman this year. And I can guarantee... Go on, mate.
I'm just saying, I'm still stuck on Aberystwyth. Aberystwyth is east of Llanelli.
Is it? Is that on curves?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
I suppose with the way it tilts down, doesn't it? So yeah, I suppose it would be. Let's not get started on that, yeah? We've had this debate all week, boys. Yeah? Let's stick with it. So, Division 2 West.
It's on the West Coast. Anyway, moving
on. Christ, yeah, it is. I'm looking at my little map here. Oh, wow.
Hugh's just trying to find ways to argue about the geography of West Wales. That's what he's doing. He's going out.
He hasn't come into this with any prior knowledge, unfortunately. Living in
fresh eyes.
Living in I want to say the dark side, but the dark side's over the locker. He's in the dark side.
The darker side.
Over the other bridge that we won't talk about. But no, it's quite deceiving looking at it from that. I've never ever just sat down and looked at the map. What's east and what's west and where? No, that's really interesting for you geography nuts out there.
Anyway, Division 2 West. Focus, Martyn. Focus. Focus. So let's do west of West first. So we've got Fishguard, Milford, Tenby, and St Clears. Fishguard concerns me with the fact that we'll talk about Pembrokeshire Cup in a minute, but they didn't enter a team they allowed a walkover against them in the first round of the Pembrokeshire Cup, and I find that strange because they've usually got quite a strong side. I know they've lost a couple of the youth boys as players are coming out of youth. They go into Crymmer rather than staying in Fishguard simply because of the higher level. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's kind of continued this season, but Fishguard always works on a very, very small squad. It's literally arse end of nowhere. You might be lucky and catch a few guys that got hammered before going on the ferry and didn't make the ferry, or came off the ferry and got drunk and have stayed. But
Good
yeah,
times.
yeah, I mean, it is difficult to attract players to Fishguard, so everything in Fishguard is part of their system, and it's a strong system. Milford again should have performed a load better than for the team. The players they had should have performed a load better than where they were, and I'd be expecting more from them this season. And again, Tenby were Tenby were unlucky not to get promoted at the end of last season. It went down to the last day, and I think it was on the last day we knew Tenby. It was pretty much beyond Tenby on that last day, but it was close for a lot of the season. So I would expect them to be at the top again, battling it out. And St. Clair's, if we go back 2 or 3 seasons, Pembroke went Division 3 champions, Division 2 champions, Division 1. I wouldn't be surprised to see St. Clair's do that this year.
They can't bet. They finished second.
No, but I won't be surprised to see them go in, top of the table somewhere and going up. I've got high expectations of St. Clair's, and they've got a lot of Scarlets backing in there as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them going up Division 1 West as well. So, but Tenby are my team to watch from the West in there. So who have you got?
Yeah, I'm back in Tenby as well. We spoke quite a bit about St. Clair's, and they have got the coach in there, and, anyone watch them plays, they are so well drilled. So, they are going to be up there. But like I said, I think Tenby, we got a soft spot for Tenby. We've spoken with one of their coaches, Aled, a few times on this pod. So I think, Tenby are our spiritual team. So we're going to be all Tenby all season.
Cool.
So I know a thing about Tenby.
Go on then.
There's a beach. And
how many beaches?
It's
the best place to go crabbing.
I couldn't tell you that, Mark. But I was going to tell you another thing, is that that is where Augustus and Gwen John are from, who were the subject of a songs by Manic Preachers called The Secret He Had Missed, which is a very good song, and I would encourage people to go and listen to it. It's a duet.
Yeah. There's a line in that song that says something like, "Take me back to the beach on Tenby."
It's "Left Your Heart on a Beach in Tenby."
That's the one. And
great song. Yeah. There's a piano-only version of it that's slightly better than the single version. Anyway,
I've got some stories about some painters in Tenby that I will tell you about off this pod one day, boys, and it'd be a very different pod. So and I will say I played for Tenby for 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 2 seasons. I think I played for. Way back in the dark days. So they're kind of my team, but they're also not my team. So anyway, so East, Amman United.
Oh, what a season. 3 West B, outright champions. They finished, quite a chunk ahead of second place Trimsaran. So, they're coming into this strong. They've got a tidy little setup there. I mean, the pitch is really hidden. There's not exactly a car park there. They've got a really rundown little playground and a what's supposed to be a mugger, but it's only got 3 sides there. But no, we can only go off what we know from last season, and they done amazing. They picked up a challenge. They went through it all round it, and I think it's going to be pretty much the same. Not expecting them to hit the same sort of heights, but I'm expecting a solid season from them. Carmarthen Athletic, then we all know Carmarthen Athletic, barring maybe who will learn in time. We will learn. They had some results last year that it just begged belief. Where did they finish? I think like something like 6th or something, didn't they finish? 7th. I was 1 off. That was close. But no, they they pulled out some really, really good results, and we know on their day they are more than capable of challenging every single team in this league. It's just getting that consistency. Lampeter, our reigning 3 West A champions, who literally took that title with a couple of wins over St. Clair's in the last week or two of the season. And, pretty much same again. Lampeter and St. Clair's were so far ahead of the rest. I mean, Larne were tailing in there for a while, but those two really, really went far and beyond. I think like 100 points or something like that they ended on, which was absolutely astonishing. And the problem they've got is they're a uni town, and there's a few boys who they do get from the uni, not many, but sometimes it's those boys that they really kick that level up a notch. So I'm hoping it's not the case at the minute. I'm hoping it's all homegrown boys that are doing it. So I'm gonna go for another good season for Lampeter. Nankaredi then. Oh, go on.
No, I say Trinity St. David have invested massively in their rugby.
And Kenna wins, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got a new gym, new pitches, a whole new, basically they're aiming for Bucks. They're going for Bucks 1 in the next.
And they should have been years ago.
Yeah. So
even when I was there, they should have done it, but they weren't even interested. Then we couldn't even play on our own fields. It was unreal. We had to get permission from Carmarthen Athletic to play on the university fields.
Yeah. So I can see Lampeter starting to benefit from that investment over the next season, maybe next season, maybe this season, who knows, but definitely next season. Anyway, I interrupted you. Do continue.
No, you're fine, mate. I don't mind you interrupting me. It can be a long drone just listening to me talk. I know I'm enthusiastic, but it gets to a point where you're like, "Oh, come on, mate." Nankaredig, another team who really up there. They were with Temby till Temby. Oh God, I keep doing this. I keep doing it. I keep on talking about a team and I forget what I'm talking about. It's an absolute nightmare. No, they were really there with Temby and Buryport last season, fighting it out for that third spot. And I'm expecting very much the same again this year. I think it's going to be them and Temby are going to be... That's going to be the clash to see when they first meet. We'll have to have a look through the calendar to when they are, but that's going to be a big one. Ponteberem's is a tough one because, they didn't really have a good season whatsoever. And I think they're just hoping to pick up a couple of wins and maybe hopefully stay in the league. Then on to the last one, to Christ. Like I spoke a little bit on to Christ last year. They're a lot better than their final league position of 10th tells. They've got a brilliant setup. They've got a good, nice couple of pitches, good clubhouse, good facilities. And they really should be doing better. And I'm expecting more from them. I'm hoping for more from them, I should be saying. But, that is a side that, in a couple of years really could be pushing really hard to be up in the championship. Who knows? If they're still a premiership, they could be even up there, given the right amount of TLC, shall we say.
So just to fill Hugh in really on this league, and neither of our this team aren't East or West, but they're like the villains of the league. So whenever you say Lacha, everyone just goes boo and hiss and all that kind of stuff. They're the side that everyone hates, and they really are, and no one likes playing them because they're dirty bastards. And no one likes going there, really. So, and I don't care if any Lacha supporters are listening and getting they're definitely part of the Swansea region, but nobody likes Lacha. So tough. So, that's just really putting, when we get into the season and we talk about who's playing who, when we talk about Lacha, everyone's got a Lacha story, and none of them are nice. So, Division 3 West A is very easy for Martyn to review because it's all West. So obviously Division 3 West is split into A and B, and A is West-West and B is East-West. So, and this is where it'll get confusing, because I've been landed with Llanybother. I still don't think Llanybother are West-West, but we're going to go with it just to make sure that we're balancing the teams and I've got enough people to talk about. Because
come on, they're a border town, man. They are definitely worthwhile putting in the West.
They could be Scottish borders, mate. I've never seen them play. Yeah. But anyway, yes, we've got Llanybother in there, so that's going to be a new side for me this year. Aberaeron, yeah, I mean, they've just had their sevens. They say you were heading down to their sevens, Mark. So, you know, the club setup there is very good. I think as Aberaeron have grown, Cardigan have kind of suffered because of that. So, yeah, I mean, I wish the boys all the best because it's a lovely place. When that ground is, when the wind isn't blowing, that ground is such a beautiful ground to play on because you just look out over the sea. So they've kind of built a stand in the way now. But if you're standing at either end, it just looks out over the sea. Or if you're up in the clubhouse, it overlooks the top of the stand and it looks out to sea. And it's just lovely. It's a really, really nice place to play. Whether they're going to do anything this year, I mean, they had up and down season last year. I'd expect them to be quite close to the top, but I don't think they're going to be, you know, where they hope to be on that one. Then we've got Cardigan. Like I say, Cardigan, again, have suffered because of the growth in teams around them. So Newcastle Emlyn, Aberaeron, Aberystwyth, and Cardigan just haven't kept pace with them. And they got no excuse, you know. They really should be doing better than where they are. So possibly a revival this year. I've not seen anything coming out of Cardigan to give me that sense, but you never know. They did pull out a couple of decent results last year. And it is a strange pitch to play in because it's completely open on the side of a road. So, you know, sometimes going up to Cardigan is a bit of a weird experience. So who knows? They may turn something in, they may not. I think the side to watch this year is Haverfordwest. So I said Narberth have lost a couple of players and a couple of coaches. They've gone to Haverfordwest, and obviously we've got the signing of Rob Evans coming back down to Division 3, coming back to his heartland. Rob has said that it's temporary. You know, he just wants to put a bit back into the local game while he's here, and there will be a signing for somewhere abroad later in the season. Why that's not at the start of the season, I don't know, but he said he's going abroad later in the season. So
it'll be Japan. You know, he might be waiting until the season starts and then he'll bugger off out there.
Yeah, Japan doesn't start until next year.
So it may be, but you know, we're going to make the most of Rob while he's there. And I'll be honest, I've seen a couple of decent signings for Haverfordwest as well. And really, you know, when you go on the size of towns, you know, Haverfordwest is about the size of pretty much the rest of those put together, possibly if you extract Cardigan. So, you know, it really should be doing a lot better than what it is. The pitch is good, the setup is good, the committee there is good. Everybody is dedicated to making something work in Haverfordwest, and it just hasn't clicked for the last couple of seasons. So I think that first game back, I think a lot of people will be turning up to see Rob, and it'll be a bit of a fan fest for that first game. So I think that should be quite fun. And realistically, I'm expecting Haverfordwest to get out of Division 3 next year. Larne, again, unlucky not to last year. I'm expecting pretty much the same this year. Langham have already had a tonking off Pembroke. It's probably one of the smallest sides in Wales. Certainly the most difficult clubhouse to find, unless you've got, you know, at least 3 different maps, 4 different bloody Google Maps telling you where to go on diver's helmet and a strong torch, you're not finding Langham clubhouse. You've never been there, Matt. Honest to God, unless
my heart's breaking by you, mate. How can you talk this place down?
I'm not talking it down. I'm saying
you are.
I'm saying it's a nightmare to actually find, and anybody that
you're using Langham and the word nightmare in the same sentence, talking them down, mate.
No, it's. I'm hoping that they've been able to retain some of their youth players from last year.
Oh, damn right, yeah.
Because it will be good to see some of those players starting to come through. But Langham is always going to struggle, and it pulls players from Haverfordwest and Neyland and Pembroke Dock, possibly Pembroke as well, Milford. Yeah, but it's one of those sides that it pulls players rather than developing its own players. So, yeah, we'll see what comes of Langham this year. But I don't think they're going to be, if they make anywhere outside the bottom three, I'd be shocked with that. Neyland, very strong again last year. They're not going to set the world alight, but they are what they are. The whole division is basically every week is a bit of a. There's always going to be at least one local derby. Neyland, Pembroke Dock, St David's in that division as well. I am expecting more from Pembroke this year. New coach, new setup. A couple of the players have left. Demoted 2 divisions. They were ring fenced in Division 1 and had a Tonkin. I don't think they've won a game in Division 1 for 3 seasons, and I think that was part of the demotion. And there were too many games where they weren't able to field a side. But numbers at training have been good. I think there's quite a few boys in that side now that have got a chip on their shoulder. I will give a shout out to their backs coach. There's a guy called Darren Gilbert who played scrum half with me all through school and county and all of that kind of stuff. And if anyone else gets a word in at training, I'll be shocked, because he was called the Gob for a reason. And good luck to anybody else actually trying to get a word in there, because Butch just ain't going to do that. That's not the way it works. Quins, again, we expected so much from last season and we really didn't deliver much. So, it's a case of rebuilding from a couple of seasons ago, and the rebuilding continues. They had a very young side last year. I think they retained most of that side. So hopefully that'll be a good season for the Quins. And then St David's, again, very similar to Fishguard in struggling to develop. They have to develop their own players. There's attracting players. Probably attracting players to St David's is easier than to Fishguard, because it's just got that kind of sexy kind of feel to it. But yeah, the one.
And you got the mural to look at.
Well, yes, you've got the mural on the side there to look at, but. The one bit we do know, Hugh, about St David's is when anyone goes to St David's, it is compulsory for the visiting team to have fancy dress and drinking games in the clubhouse after. There is no discussion around this. It's compulsory, and any side that doesn't do that is a shithouse. And that's pretty much the end of that story. It's compulsory. It's so far away. Even if the closest side would be Haverfordwest or Fishguard, I think Haverfordwest would be about a half-hour journey, and Fishguard is a good 20-25 minutes, depending on how many tractors are on the top road between the two. So
you want to go there spending the night. You got to go there with the plan that you're sleeping on the bus. That is what it is. You're either on the floor of the clubhouse or you're back in the bus.
Yeah, I've sat on the bus on the way back from there. Yeah.
So I used to live for a year in Bognor Regis on the south coast of England, and that was literally the end of the line. If the train line went on for another couple of 100 feet, it would have been in the sea. And I'm looking at the map here, and it looks like a similar kind of arrangement for St David's.
Yeah, St David's doesn't bother with trains. So The train just goes to Fishguard, and St David's doesn't even have a train. So, but it's a lovely place to visit, and a lovely place to play rugby. The weird
It's got to be
thing
nice
with
in the bog now.
but the weird thing with St David's is nearly all the players are also RNLI boys. So I was playing there once, and so you've got the main pitch, and then you've got the second team pitch. There's a hedge, and then there's a second team pitch. And I was playing youth. We were playing on the second team pitch, and we had to stop to let the helicopter land to pick up some boys that they'd rescued off the sea. And then we used to have the big yellow thing back then. So we had to have like an early half time. So I think we played like 30 minutes and then another 30 minutes and then a 10 minutes as well, just to let the helicopter land, evacuate the guy, and then up he goes. And a couple of times my dad was playing up there, and there'd be they used to have an alarm. So if the alarm would go off, literally half the team would just bugger off because they had an RNLI call out, and they'd have like about 20 subs, and then it was just like, right, you boys are going to play, on you go, and those boys would go and do a call out. It was really weird. I'm not sure if it's like it now. I don't think so, but that's certainly how it used to be back in the 70s and 80s. So yeah,
it'd be a shame if it isn't. That sounds absolutely awesome. Just stopping the game randomly. I got to go save this poor sucker in the middle of the sea.
Yeah,
that is brilliant. But no, St David's, they're a brilliant team. I love them. I know them and Langham are my teams in this division. And St David's have had a bit of a connection with Wales. This year now with the away jersey for the World Cup being very St David inspired, and it's the one kit I actually like.
Yeah, the black and gold.
Wales,
yeah.
And it's been that way for a very long time. I'm a little bit different. Yeah, I'm a little bit different from you. I backed Haverfordwest last year, and it was a fatal mistake. I think you're doing the exact same thing that I did. I think Larne are going to carry themselves on this year. I love Larne. I've been there a few times, and it's such a lovely place. And just because you're so nice, I want them to succeed. So I'm going to back them. And like you said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pembroke return to winning ways. So I think Larne and Pembroke are going to be. They'll be my two for this league. What about you? How, based on all our discussions, where do you find in yourself?
I'm afraid that St David's just sounds too good. I'm just going to have to go with that.
Yes, that's what I like. I love it.
St David's and Langham. Yeah, you stick your head
one
on
and
the
two.
block there, fella, yeah.
1 and 2, but what way? And which one's black and gold, and which one's gold and black?
Oh, let's not start that one, Matt. West B. Let's just go on to West B. So don't get Hugh talking about kits. Yeah, you've seen his kit stash. Yeah, and will you
I haven't seen the kit stash. I've seen the box with the kit stash.
Oh, trust me, the kit stash is massive. And so Langham and St David's are basically the same kit. Yeah, but the argument always was one was yellow with black stripes and the other one was gold with black stripes. No, one was black with yellow stripes and one was gold with black stripes. And it was this massive argument for years about who had the right to wear the kit and all of this kind of stuff. And I think one of them had a change kit, which basically had a red stripe through the middle. So it was exactly the same kit. It just had a red stripe through the middle. This is back in the 80s now, but anyway, let's do Division 3 West.
Yeah, 3 West B. There's not a real lot to talk about, same as with 3 West A. We are getting into the proper village sides. I mean, we've got Betos, Binia, Cefnathan, Furness, Llandilo, Llandibby, Llangadog, New Dock Stars, Penrose, Tregaron, who've popped over from West A. It's nice to welcome them into the fold. Then you've got Trimsaran and Tumble. And of all of them, Trimsaran were really unlucky not to go up last season, just based on, the very weird rule of competing against someone in a different division for your promotion spot. I really don't understand how they managed to do that. Stick them in a playoff or something. Don't just let the league decide it. You could have had St. Clay's and Trimsaran as a one-off at the end of the season to go up. That would have been a better way of doing it for my eyes. I'm expecting pretty much the same. I'm expecting Trimsaran to top this, just because I haven't seen or heard anything from anybody else. I mean, Pennygroes was up there last year as well. Tumble is one who I think they've been perennial underperformers for a while. I know there's a lot of give and take with Ponteberem and how close they all are, but I expect more from Tumble, and it's a nice place to go as well to play. If you want to take the kids as well, there's a lovely park that you can just chuck them in, and you can go watch a rugby. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, it's going to be more or less the same as last season, with Trimsaran the only real standout in there, and a new place to visit in Tregaron, and that's all there really is at the minute. We'll I say me and Huw will have a deep dive into some of these teams over the year to see how much information we can get out of it. The only thing I can say is there's going to be a good few away days, Llandilo and Llandibby being a fair trek for some of these teams, and New Dock Stars. I like New Dock Stars. They're really close to Trostra. They've got this massive fence around their pitch in the clubhouse. It looks really nice, but they had their pitch waterlogged from some council works over the last season or two, and that's finally resolved. So hopefully they'll be able to train more regular now and not have to look to bloody schools pitches for training nights anymore. So maybe we'll see a bit of a New Dock this year. Other than that, it is what it is. I can't say much more. We will look into it, but I'm looking at Trimsaran for being the ones to win this league.
So, quick question.
All I know about
you.
Trimsaran is Jiffy.
So you can tell that as we're going through this, Hugh's like, right, Google that. I've got something.
I knew that already.
So, New Dock Stars, and I had this conversation with someone last week. Are they old Dock Stars, and is there old Dock mediocre players, or is there new Dock not so good? But do you know what I mean? It's
old Dock is the veterans. It's the 50+ mate.
I love the idea that you got with a new Dock Stars. Well, you're in Division 3 West B. It says it screams ambition to me, but then sometimes you just kind of like. Yeah, I think they could
maybe it's a bit of nominative determinism, which is when your name decides what your outcome is going to be. So it's like if someone called Thatcher ends up making roofs, something like that. So they're stars. If we call stars, if we dress like stars, we will end up being stars.
I think there's only one star on the actual badge as well. I'll have to. I'll do a little dive in, but but I think there is literally, they're called New Dock Stars, plural, and I think there's only the one on there.
It's always been one of those teams that I've kind of gone, oh, they must be good. Because, new, that means like, come on, we've regenerated the club, and then Docks, or Dockers, you think that's where the hard boys come from, and the Stars, that's.
Well, and the badge I've got here are based on Facebook. There's 3, but they're above the badge like they've won 3 European titles.
No, I do see that. That's hilarious.
Them in Toulon, indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the number of Dock Stars teams they've got rid of before them.
Yeah.
They got rid of the old Dock Stars. They got rid of the Dock Stars. They got rid of the newer Dock Stars. It's just New Dock Stars left.
New Dock Stars. So anyway, let's have
a the even newer.
Yeah.
Oh.
It'd be like Star Trek Regeneration or whatever it is. All right, so let's have a look. Finally, at the last couple of teams in the region, in 5 West. Why is there nobody in 4 West Central? And then where does West Central come into it, mate? Because we got Division 5 West Central, but why are they not in like Division 3? Or I give up.
Well, this is one of the questions I put out too in my my little splurge about this new elite league and all that earlier. Why are these teams who are they are Carmarthenshire teams? they are under, under our governance. Why are they playing somewhere else? I mean, I don't get it, especially Pontiates, who are, they're further west than Tumble and Ponteberem. Why are they playing in basically a Swansea Bridgend league when they're this far west? I mean, it does boggle the mind with some of these, same as Pennebank. They're an Ammanford side. So yeah, I can understand why maybe they were put there, but at the same time, all the local teams are, playing in a completely different pathway to you. So it does make it a bit more difficult. But we've got these three. We got Pantafanan. We got Pennebank and Pontiates. They didn't exactly like the world they liked last year. If I can grab my league tables up here, they finished Pontiates 6th, Pennebank 9th, and Pantafanan 11th, which not exactly set in the world of light. What I will say is something I've seen on the off season is Pontiates have had some new coaches in, and the things I'm seeing, they're looking pretty good. So they are going to be my my number one team for this league. I know obviously there's a lot of more West Central teams in there that will have something to say. Teams like Seven Sisters, Penland, they're going to be like, whoa, what are you doing talking about these boys? This is our area, this is our league. I'm back in Pontiates to do it, and Pennebank and Pantavan, and these are two teams who then your local village teams. You're just hopeful to get your match day out, have your minis and juniors set up, your pint after the game. This is the true heart of our game. So it's we want to see these clubs play in, thrive in, not just survive in. So I'm going to be contacting these ones specifically to see if we can chat with a couple of them. But Pontiates, I'm expecting good things from them this year, and fingers crossed we'll see them in the West, not West Central, from next season onwards.
Cool. So that brings to the end of our men's community rugby list. So on top of that, we've got the women's game, we've got the girls' hubs, we've got Jewish Shield games, Jewish Shield teams. We've got, so we've spoken about mixed ability already. We've got Scarlets East West at under 17. I'm not sure how that's going to work with under 16s, Jewish Shield and all of that kind of stuff. So there's a whole load of other rugby on top of this. Plus we got 7-a-side tournaments, and we've got veterans teams as well to bring in. So there's a lot of rugby in West Wales. There's an awful lot of rugby in West Wales to cover. So we're going to do our best to cover it all through the season. And Huws going to have a really, really steep learning curve on West Wales.
Just done a quick count. We've just rattled through 62 teams. Oh no, 64 if you include the Premiership side.
Yeah, that's a lot to get through. This is why we only did the West last year, Matt.
Yeah, this is why we're going to be splitting it. It's just way too many to do in one. Like I think we've scored 9. I think it was 19 at the last count in the West and 29 in the East, but that's not including like any of the mixed abilities, the women's, the girls' hubs, and none of that. So this really is a massive area for rugby. I know in terms of how many clubs are there in Wales? And like 280, something like that, isn't it? And to say that we've got 50 odd of them, in this real small section of the country, because that is what we are, especially population wise, it's absolutely incredible.
So that's what's to come. So I just want to catch up with Pembrokeshire Cup. So we touched on this last week, and we had the results for I can't remember who we did last week. So
Milford and Aberaeron we done.
So we did Milford, lost 22-30 to Aberaeron. Tenby beat Cardigan 29-16, and Aberystwyth had a walkover against Fishguard. So Pembroke. So All Wales Sport are saying 50 points to 0, but I don't think it was. I think it was more than that. But I'll have to go back and have a look through social media. And they've also got the wrong name down there. They've gone Harry Tudor, which is the local school. So I think that's why it's capped at 50, because in schoolboy rugby it stops at 50. So I'm sure it was more than that. And then we've got Pembroke Dock Quins. So this is the result that kind of perked my interest. So Pembroke Dock Quins 23, Whitland 16. So we've been talking about the issues at Whitland. I mean, having whether or not they weren't fully committing to the cup, which is an issue we've spoken about before. But fair due to the Quins. What I will say is the Quins beat Narberth in the first round of the cup last year. And Narberth lost their first 2 games and then went on to win the cup, and the Quins didn't. So still a good win for the Quins. Haverfordwest beat Neyland 23-6. And again, that's Haverfordwest and Neyland is one of those ones where the police are always on standby with that, especially when it's in Neyland, because it just descends into a bloodbath. So Haverfordwest 23-6 is a really good win for them there. And then Narberth, this is Narberth Athletic. This is the seconds. So they beat St. David's 24-13 in what was, by all accounts, a really good game a couple of days ago. So, so that's the Pembrokeshire Cup. So far, there are no further fixtures planned on that.
Am I right in thinking that's all of round 1 completed now? Because there's 7 fixtures in there. That's more or less all of Pembrokeshire done, isn't it?
I have no idea at all, and I don't think most people that play in the Pembrokeshire Cup have got any decent idea of whether that's right or not. So there's one game that I want to just one friendly that I want to bring to everyone's attention from last week. Not because it involves anyone in our region, because it doesn't. It's simply the name. So Cardiff Quins 33 and the Beddau Chuckles 19. Now, to me, that's right up there with New Dock Stars. And what was the side from Bristol that we had?
Kings Crusaders.
That's the one.
We'll see how they go on.
It's to me, that's what we should be looking for. We should be looking for people like the Beddau Chuckles for our teams to watch.
So Dings beat Bargoed 28-17. Bargoed.
I think all of us need a lesson on how to pronounce some of these, because we already spoke about Dewi, whatever last week, and you just said Beddau Chuckles. I read that Beddau.
It's Beddau. Beddau.
Yeah, my uncle lives there. Everyone calls it Beddau. I know it's really weird. Yeah,
I've always pronounced that Beddau.
Same as like Pencoed. It depends on where you are. It's really weird.
I get confused by Ponty Yates. Is it Ponty Yates or Pont Yates?
I'm Pont Yates.
Oh, look, there's another one. Blackwood Stars. Maybe that's where the old Dock Stars went. They went over to Blackwood, so they're the Blackwood Dock Stars. They went up the M4. Maybe that's what it is. Guys, we're digressing.
Managed connection, though.
Yeah. So, the community game season kicks off this weekend. So, it's going to be a hell of a start to the season. It really is, and
a massive humdinger.
Yeah, and so we're looking at 2nd of September, some massive games, and like we said last year, all through last year, just go and watch your clubs. There's no excuses this week. There's no Rugby World Cup on. There's no friendlies on, and there's no URC. So go and watch local sides. Go and find someone to go and watch. And if you're struggling to go and watch someone, go on to All Wales Sport and find the divisions that are close to you and go and watch someone there, because there'll be somebody close to you playing a game. Maybe not you, Hugh, but there'll be somebody close to everybody else that will be playing a game, and just go and make the most of it while you can. Because if you don't,
you know what, this is going to be a challenge for Huws now for this week. What is your most local rugby team playing in the WRU leagues?
Oh, that'd be Chepstow.
Well, it'll be someone in East Wales. There'll be someone on the border.
We need to find out.
Chepstow is right on the border,
and we're gonna make Huws become an honorary fan, a member, a lifetime member of the club. That's the goal for this season.
It's either Chepstow or Caldicot, because I played a game in one of them and got pissed in the club. In the we went from one place to the other. And I was sitting there having a beer with a guy who was playing a piano, and he was getting absolutely tanked. And we got to 2:00 in the morning, and he steps on the bus and starts driving the bus. Honest to God, I have never sobered up so quick in my entire life. I went on the back seat next to the fire exit. I was 19, back seat, fire exit, and put the seatbelt on. And
and we've just got you a nickname, Fire Exit. Sorted.
Long time ago, boys. Long time ago. Right.
So I think the place that I've heard of would be Bilth Wells.
No,
that's not right on the border, but I know I've heard it come out. I've heard it come out of Phil Steele's mouth. So that's that's the team I've heard of.
Yeah, I think he's chairman there now or something. He's honorary chairman or something. Anyway, Huws' mission for next week is to find himself the most bizarre named team to support. Ooh. And that'll be Huws. And it's not allowed to be Bearlight Chuckles, because we've had that one already.
Or Dings Crusaders.
Yeah. Right, gents, pleasure as always. Really looking forward to the community game season starting. I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic season. And then we've got the Rugby World Cup, and then we've got the URC. This is going to be immense. It's going to be an absolutely mental season. Really looking forward to it. Been a long one tonight, but yeah.
I think they're going to be long ones for a little while. You know, that's why we're splitting them. You know, we didn't even get onto the fixtures this week. It's just way too much to go
way
through.
Too much to go through.
Especially adding the World Cup into it. This is going to be a hectic few weeks for us and everyone.
Anyway, we shall catch up again and do this all next week. And in the meantime, gents, enjoy your rugby. I shall see you next week. All the best.
Pleasure as always, boys. Ta-ra.
All the best. Ta-ra.
For listening to this week's show. Please subscribe and share, as it really helps to grow the Scarlets family. You can contact us in all the usual social media platforms or on scarletspems@gmail.com. Join us again next week for more of the same, and in the meantime, enjoy your rugby.
Sports Social Podcast Network.